Welcome back to another episode with Mystic Scales and Fae Tales
Podcast.
I'm one of your hosts, Jennifer.
And I'm your other host, Leigh, and welcome back.
And we are a fantasy, romance, and dystopian podcast. So yeah, like we said, welcome back. Or if it's your first time, welcome. We have two different kinds of episodes we do. We have a full-length episode of an hour and a mini episode of 30 minutes. So we do 4 episodes in total a month. And today is a hour-long episode as we are doing a book review for a book we have read in our book club on the app Fable that has about 600 members or more. We have been deep within the Grishaverse in this book club. So the Grishaverse is books from Leigh Bardugo. Essentially, Grishaverse is the name of the entire universe because she has 3 different series within them. We have previously done Six of Crows, the duology, Shadow and Bone, a trilogy, and now we're on the final duology, King of Scars, which I should mention we read them out of order in publication order. It was Shadow and Bone, then it was Six of Crows, and then now King of Scars. So we kind of switched around a little bit. So today we are going to be reviewing the first book in that last duology I mentioned, which is King of Scars. Again, to mention the author is Leigh Bardugo, not to get you confused with our host, Leigh. This is the second to last. So we have one more book in this universe, and then we are caught up to date, minus novellas and graphic novel. So we are also doing episodes reviewing the TV show. We just released one recently, reviewing season 1. We're going to review season 2, and then we cannot review anymore because unfortunately the show was canceled. It's so
true.
Fun to watch the medium after reading it. And to wrap it all up in one long sentence, we are also going to read the graphic novel that came out, which is a prequel to Shadow and Bone about the Darkling, and we'll probably read the new novella or short stories, not novella, from the Six of Crows universe. Oh yeah, you have the book Demon of the Wood, right? That's the graphic novel. Did you put tabs?
No, I have a bookmark.
Oh, I was like, okay, you tabbing things. That's so
No,
cute.
but well, I'll talk about it when we get to that episode. Stay tuned, everyone.
So we'll talk about that, and then there was I was alluding to a new short stories that came out recently, that was in the Six of Crows universe. I mean, they're all the same universe, especially as we dive into King of Scars. They are literally the same universe, like there's nothing in between. So anyway, the new short stories came out recently. There's apparently things that you have to decode in it, so that'll be interesting for us to figure out how to decode it, because I've seen people struggling. And so it'll be fun. So we get to do that.
Interesting.
And then we'll wrap up the Grishaverse, which has been the last couple months. So thank you all who stuck around for the entire thing. We're excited to keep going. But yeah, today is King of Scars. So spoilers ahead for King of Scars and for every other book that we mentioned before this.
Also,
we're going to go deep.
Probably spoilers for the TV show too, I think.
Oh, true. Yeah, I would think so, because we mentioned they are intertwining this into the TV show we've noticed. So definitely spoilers for anything that we notice with a TV show specifically. And let me see. Did you read this physically or did you do the audio?
I did it physically. I have strangely challenged myself to read all of them physically, and I'm not really sure why I did that, but we're sticking to it. I ordered the last book today. What's it called? Rule of Wolves. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. And the reason that we say that because we did struggle with this book. But this book and the next book are the biggest books, I think, of all of them. This page length is 511, where if you had picked up Shadow and Bone, it's probably half the size of this. And the font is different. It's like more spacing in Shadow and Bone. And Six of Crows, I would say, too. I originally wanted to do physical, but I did not. I do have the physical because I got them at like thrifting. But yeah, I ended up doing the audio, and I'm so happy I did because I was very much struggling. But the reason I brought up the physical is we mentioned this when we started the book. It's so interesting that in the map, so we get maps in the beginning of each one, right? Each one's different, which map you're getting. But like the area where the fold was is still there on the map, but now it's called the
Right.
Unsea instead of the
Right.
fold.
Right. And I remember when we started it, we were like, why is there still this thing on the map? I thought we destroyed this. Like, I thought that was the end of, um, what is it, Ruin and Rising?
But it makes sense because you can't put those places back necessarily. Like they said in the book that it's like they all call it the Unsea now because it's like you can't grow things there, like nothing's coming from it. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
guess we kind of just assumed going into this, yeah, like you said, after Ruin Rising, that it would just be like they would extend where it was before, um, but they didn't. Yeah, so it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
obviously we venture there, so it's good they kept it on the map, I guess.
True. I think the I think the Six of Crows maps also like they obviously aren't that zoomed out, I think, but they don't show the unsea or the fold, so I think, that's where we started and we were like used to not knowing about it and then we learned all about it. And now to like have this like basically like a stain on the map, we were like, well, what's this?
Hmm.
Um, but we learned
And
it's
I
like
think
a
this
wasteland.
this one was the best at showing you everything, how close everything really is. Where I feel
Yeah.
like the other ones, like you're mentioning with Six of Crows, is more zoomed in, but you could really see how each country is on top of each other, and there's
Hmm.
no wonder, like before we talked about like the traveling between countries is confusing, and the fights between the
Hmm.
countries, and how the TV show made it very present that the countries all together are at war. Where the book Shadow and Bone didn't really make it seem like that. But then when you look at the map, yeah, that actually does make sense because Fjerda
Yeah.
is literally on the border of Ravka, which Ravka is in the middle of Shuhan, and then you have
Hmm.
all where is it? Then you have all the way to like the little side is Kerch still available by
Hmm.
boat. So it's like you
Hmm.
understand, and then Novia Zem all the way on the other side of the sea. So like it makes
Hmm.
sense, everything that's happening now that you could like really see it in detail on these.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very good map.
Very detailed. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, so many places they mentioned and places they haven't mentioned, are on here too.
Hmm.
It makes you wonder what the rest of the world could look like because there's no way that this is the entire world,
So true.
And it,
Yeah.
it
Are
looks like
the
half a
yeah.
continent anyway.
Yeah. I was just gonna say as the Wandering Isle up here, and yeah, it's where everyone gets banished to.
Yep. All right. Well, let me read the back of the book, as
All
we've already done to the
right.
beginning. Face your demons or feed them. The Boy King. The Warrior King. The prince with a demon curled inside his heart. Nikolai Lantsov has always had a gift for the impossible, yet with each day a dark magic within him grows stronger, threatening to destroy all he has built. His country is Nikolai's first love, and whatever it demands, he will give. Zoya Nazgalensky has devoted her life to honoring her deadly talents and rebuilding the Grisha army. Despite their magical gifts, Zoya knows the Grisha cannot survive without Ravka, and Ravka cannot survive a weakening king. Zoya will stop at nothing to help Nikolai secure the throne, but she also has new enemies to conquer in the battle to come. Far north, Nina Zenik wages her own kind of war against the people who would see the Grisha wiped from the earth forever. Burdened by grief and a terrifying power, Nina must face the pain of her past if she has any hope of defeating the dangers that await her on the ice. Ravka's king, Ravka's general, and Ravka's spy. They will journey past the boundaries of science and superstition, of magic and faith, and risk everything to save a broken nation. But some secrets aren't meant to stay buried, and some wounds aren't meant to heal.
So
Now, when reading
I
that last line, like how they describe them as Ravka's king, Ravka's general, Ravka's spy,
hmm
is how like I was like, okay, that would make more sense. Like how they're like
hmm
roping this. But I still
hmm
think that describing Nina as Ravka's spy is so inaccurate, especially by the end of it, her decisions, which we'll get to, that
hmm
it's like, no, I think you just, as an editor or as the publisher, were like, you should put Nina's story in there because people really love Six of Crows, and that's what this felt like. It feels like two books in one, and that was just interesting, before as we start
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. As you were reading it, I was like, oh, we need to talk about your comments on the editing. And then when you got to that line, I was like, that feels like three novellas that they just lumped together.
To make
And
one story.
I have feelings about that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
especially Nina's.
yeah. So we are thrown back into just like a little recap from that back. We're essentially thrown back. We're 3 years after Six of Crows. No, 3 years after Shadow and Bone. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
which is also 3 years after Six of Crows.
No, I
I
think
think Nina
that's
says
one year after Six of Crows. Because isn't
Nina
Six
says
of
how
Crows
long?
two? I thought Six of Crows was 2 years after Alina's story, and this is definitely 3 years. So
1 year. I was just going. How long did Nina say that she had Mateus's body? Was it a year?
I don't think it's that long.
Okay, so then we're only a few
But
months after Six of Crows then.
okay. But
Let's
it's
say
definitely
a few
three.
months to a year at most,
Yeah.
but I don't think it is a
Yeah.
year.
I don't think so.
I don't. So we're 3 years after Alina's story. The funny thing is, after reading Alina's story, like no matter what we read here, we know things will be fine because we get the epilogue. The
True.
Alina story where they're like, and they come back to visit all the time, and everyone's happy. So you're just like,
Right.
oh, okay, so like everything's fine. Because obviously she wrote that before she knew she was going to do all these things, so she can't
Yeah.
like go back on that and be like, well, you
Right.
don't know. You're like, no, I know
Right.
things are going to be fine. So we get thrown into this time after. So if you're reading them in order, it makes the most sense. And yeah, Ravka is saved from the Darkling, or so we think. And Nikoali is battling the demon he was given from Shadow and Bone. Zoya is the general of the Second Army, and they are trying to keep Ravka in this very fragile beginning after this post-Civil War they've had. And Nina is still grieving Matthias and in Fjorda with a new look, literally, and trying to be a spy for Nikoali, as they've had her in the show where she's a spy for the Darkling.
The Darkling, yeah.
In this case, she's a spy for Nikoali. How did you feel being thrown into this right away with all these different stories combining? Was it drawing for you? Did you like it? I mean, the characters they don't really interact, I would say, because we're getting different point of views. But with Nina's, we do get Adric is there, and we meet Leonie, I think her name is. Leonie is her name, Leonie. So we meet her. But yeah, how did you feel about the intertwining of now you've read these both series together?
I mean, I think Nina's was a little jarring. I don't think it meshed as well as the other. So we kind of compared it to the show in the beginning, like in the show when they have the Six of Crows story, trying to like weave that into the Shadow and Bone story, and it was just like a little jarring. So I feel like it was similar in this book. I'm not sure how you felt.
Probably the same. I think the same, because I felt like I was not getting where the stories mixed, and even by the end of this, it didn't. Like you've already alluded to with like different stories. I just didn't understand why we needed more of Nina's story, I guess, so to say. Like, I felt pretty wrapped up from Six of Crows for her. I mean, I felt that for all of them, but I also felt like she was going to go back to Ravka. I thought she wanted to help Ravka. Like, it felt like that's what she wanted. And I know that everybody kept telling her, like, don't do that. Like, go do your own thing. Like, go help Grisha. Like, go with Inej or go whatever. Like, they're like, there's no point in going to Ravka. Like, you're just being a soldier. You're not free. And, like, in a way, she kind of discovered that, because then she went off and did her own thing. Like, she still was a spy, but then she finds this calling with the Grisha and trying to find the girls and save the girls and have this whole side plot that made no sense. But
Mm-hmm.
I still didn't feel like I needed it. Like I didn't feel the need for, I mean, obviously the love, I love the scene of her burying Mateus and the growth, and
Yeah.
like that was so emotional.
Yeah.
But could that have been a epilogue in Crooked Kingdom? Yeah, it really could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah.
would have easily accepted if she just went off trying to help other Grisha find their way to Ravka because that's to save his place. That would have been fine. I did not need her in the story, especially being called King of Scars. That is what
Mm.
people call Nikolai. That's what his meaning of
Mm-hmm.
the word they call him is literally
Mm-hmm.
translate to King of Scars. So for me, her intertwining of the story just did not fit and make sense. So I think that was what was jarring. That's like throughout the entire time, I found no reason for it to be there.
Yeah, I agree. And I still, like you're saying, like by the end, we're still not really clear what was her mission? Like we know she was keeping secrets about like people possibly like uprising against Nikolai. And I mean, kind of the whole time she's not really like she's supposed to be following like Adric's orders, right? And she really doesn't.
Adric.
Adric, sorry.
It's
Um,
fun being able to see how you pronounce it because you're reading it and then what I hear. So it's like great to
mhm.
see.
Do they have an accent in the
Adric,
audio book?
no. Zoya has a very thick accent.
Okay.
But Adric does not. I don't think so.
Okay. I just asked because the show leaned heavy on like the British accents. So I was
No,
curious.
no.
Um, but yeah, so she doesn't really like I was like, why are you even with them? Like you're not following the rules. Like you're not being a soldier or whatever you're supposed to be being. So it was a little like, okay. And then to throw in that she had this like secret at the end. I don't know if that was just like to tie things together because like the other sort of secret came out about potentially Nikolai's like biological father, like
She
making a
was throwing straws
claim.
at the end, like throwing things at the wall.
Yeah. I don't know. There was a lot happening and it really I this one took me a long time to
It took me a long
I
time to
just
finish.
I just felt like I was like chugging and like barely getting through. And I really think I clocked like I think it was 300 pages before something interesting happened.
A
I'm like, that's
plot.
a whole
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
I
I
think
don't
that's the
know.
hard thing is like I'm trying to like approach this because I know that when we talk about things, we talk about so much negatives, and I try to like
Yeah.
be like, how to we talk
Yeah.
about positives too. And
Yeah.
like, I think that Leigh, the author, has very strong characters, like
Hmm.
a lot of that 300 pages was us like finding out like how they're feeling and their backstories and different things, and she writes so well, but the
Mm-mm.
overarching plot is what's lost so often with her. And I think
Mm-mm.
it's so hard because we keep texting and we're like, I don't understand because Six of Crows duology was so good. Why is the plot not great in Shadow and Bone and then in this? And it's like, I think it's because it's centered around a heist. The heist is the plot, right? And then we're
Yeah.
connecting it to other things. Where this,
Yeah.
there is no square plot or something for her to outline around. She's,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously that's the hard thing about fantasy plots is you're making these plots, and they're kind of lacking. And so we're here with Nikolai, and we're here with Zoya, and we're here with Tamar and Tolia, and we're learning Jenya and David, and we're learning so much, and we're seeing how they're going through. But at the same time, I'm like, is this just like a cozy fantasy where I get to just like be with them and like see how their lives are? Because that's what it feels
Yeah.
like, And
Yeah.
it started off really strong with Nikolai's plot of like, okay, there's a demon stuck in him. How are we gonna get it out?
Mm.
That's a
Mm.
great plot, because like the throne is threatened and whatever. But then
Hmm.
when we get to the reasoning for it, it's what takes away. So
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that's what the struggle is that we couldn't find the plot. And then when it was thrown at us, it was confusing.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think she has said it in like a time of like political unrest. And I feel like that is such a big plot or like such a big conflict to have. And it's kind of like you almost can't resolve it in a book because it's too big. Like that's too much. And especially with like this story, like how we have the conflict of the Grisha and how they're treated in different cultures and everything. It's a very difficult like concept to grasp even, and then to like try to tackle it. Like, I mean, we love dystopian, right? Like we love seeing that
Mm-hmm.
turmoil, but having that as like the background big plot, and then having like these smaller kind of serious like immediate plots, like you have a demon inside you, or like you have these religious fanatics, or this
Jorda
big
Parem.
bad, yeah, the Jurda Parem, like, and the big bad is trying to come back, and it's like, oh my
Which
gosh,
was so
like,
unnecessary for the story. And like I feel so bad because in our book club, one of our members commented like in the first couple chapters, like first chapters, it was like, is Darkling coming back? Like, is that the
mm,
story that this is? And then, spoiler alert, we get to end the book. Yeah, that's what this book is. And that's such a stupid plot because you're right. She already set up so many other things. Why did she have to go back to that original plot from Shadow and Bone? Like, is she trying to
mhm,
fix it? Like, I don't understand. And
mhm,
especially if we're left the way that we discussed this in Ruin and Rising, the way that we are left with the Darkling's death and Alina's grief for it, and as a reader, we're supposed to accept grieving for the Darkling, because we didn't really necessarily agree
mhm,
with it, but we're like,
mhm.
okay, he was just trying to save the Grisha in the end. He went mad with his decisions. Nothing he did was right, but in the end, he was just a lonely person because he didn't want to die alone. He's just a lonely boy. And you like kind
Mhm.
of come to terms with that in a way, and you're like, okay, great, that's in the past. For them to bring it back, and he's just trying to leech on and like try to come back to life, it's like, oh, so like, what was the point of that? Like, why did we even
Yeah.
do that then?
Yeah. I also think
I didn't want to
if
skip to
she,
the end, but like, there's too much to not.
no, no, it's valid. I think if she wanted to like comment on that, I think the demon in Nikolai would have been enough. I
Yes,
think the introduction of is it Yuri?
Yuri, yeah, the monk that
Yuri,
worships the Darkling.
and then the saints was like, whoa.
Yeah, and like,
That, yeah. Tell me
you're
your
right.
thoughts. Tell
The
me your
demon.
feelings.
We'll get to there. The demon. You're saying the demon inside of him is enough. I think, especially with the what you're saying, this political unrest within the country and the surrounding countries. That is enough plot for me for a book. I think that could have created a lot of
Mm,
things, especially if he had. What if he end up having to go to the parties and having to find the wife and all that? If he was there and battling this, and then the Jurda Param plot was annoying because you're right. It's like you're fighting so many different bads at the same time. But I know that the reason they had to include that is because they're including Nina's story. There's no way they can
yeah.
never not address Jurda Parem if you're going to have Nina present, the only character who was able to take Jurda Parem and survive. And then, there's the whole thing that, what's his name? The guy that they kidnapped in Six of Crows, the little boy. Oh my God, what's his name?
Oh,
Um,
Yol, I don't know how to pronounce it. Buyer.
Yul by or something. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
whole thing of him at the end of Crooked Kingdom, he decides to go to Ravka, and he knows his father's knowledge of the creation of Jurda Parem and help them find a cure. I love the way that they brought this up in this book too for Nikolai. I don't remember if it was Nikolai's chapter or somebody else of like, are you really like running to find a cure for the sake of Grisha and like your care for Grisha, or are you just trying to beat another country out from figuring out how to recreate it? And he's like, well, it's both.
Hmm.
It's like, because
Hmm.
there's no way it can't be both. And I was like, oh,
Hmm.
true. So, like, that would have
Hmm.
always been present. So, like, those two, I understand. And that would have gave me more reason to have Nina's story as well. But the moment
Sure.
they were like, the Saints, and the moment they were like, the Darkling, it's like, no, that's not needed for this. And then even the Nikolai Bastard thing, like, Um, it's annoying, I think, but it it would tie into that political unrest of another country
Mm-hmm.
trying to take down the country. Especially dropping it
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the book, that's fine because it makes sense. You're saying a
Mm-hmm.
book two, then the whole thing is
Mm-hmm.
you're fighting this. And then it's like we kind of get in like House of Dragons, right? You know, like we're like, ooh,
Yeah.
do you announce your bastard status or do you not? Like, do you let it go or do you fight it? So like that
Right.
would be interesting. But yeah, the main thing that messed up this was, like I said, the Saints and the Darkling.
Yeah, because it felt like she was just going back to the commentary on like what power does. And because like what is her name? Elizabetta or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
The Saint.
The saint who is like plot twist, I'm bad. Um I was just like, so she's just wants more power too. Like that's annoying.
She wanted to become a goddess again, people to worship her again, even though she already is
Yeah.
worshipped.
Right.
She's not there to see it.
Right. And I think at first I was like, okay, like, because I was like thinking like you, like, I know you like God stories and stuff. So I was like, okay, like maybe the gods, like, we're gonna have a different take on this. Maybe I could see something like, and what book did we read where we had the commentary about gods not wanting to be gods anymore?
Um, ooh, that's hard. We've read a lot of God stories.
I think there were
Are you
two
talking
last
about
year.
the Book of Asriel?
No, maybe. The one that's coming to mind is the Mortal Follies, but I don't know if that happens in that. I don't know if I made
No,
that up. But
no, that's not
anyways,
that one.
we commented about a story where the gods were like done with being gods, and we thought that was interesting. And so like I was kind of, taken back to that, and it's
I mean, that
interesting
is
here.
Brimstone in a way, but it's not they don't interested in being gods. They're interested in letting go of that universe.
Oh, yeah, that's not what I was thinking of though. Uh
But like you're saying, sorry.
but so with like this story, I always have to put myself back in the right time period because like this, I think this one was 2018 maybe,
That it was written.
but yeah,
I was like, that is set. I'm like, it's not set in 2018.
no,
That'd be funny.
2019. So chances are this was written before whatever other books we have read that also talk about gods. So I always have to think like this came first. Anyways, I was intrigued, willing to give her like a chance here. And then it just kind of got weird. And one of our book club members also commented on how like the relationship between Zoya and the other god Juris was intriguing, but it was too short. And we basically just got like a montage of him like training her, and then suddenly he was gone
And
and
she's
giving her,
crying.
right, and he's giving her all of his power. And like, I thought Zoya was pretty cool in this. Like, I loved learning about her, like her backstory
So
and
tragic.
her strengths and everything. So I also wanted to ask, like, what did you think of Zoya's story?
Oh my god, that's why I was like, I loved it. If it was just that. like I absolutely love that she's a character that represents a future for Ravka, right? And seeing like Grisha like on the throne possibly. Like there's so much obviously allusion to this romance that they're gonna have of the two of them. And like spoiler, I'm looking at all the fan art because I'm posting the fan art in our club, so like no shit. And like Alina even said that when in the original trilogy, she's the one that had said like to Nikoali like Zoya should be your queen. And it makes sense. Like she represents so much of what you could be from living in Ravka. And I love that they don't sway away from her being like, yeah, I was in love with the Darkling. Like, I supported him, everything. And, like, it's interesting that she's a character that, like, she only changed her side because his actions affected her and not because of what she was seeing him do in terms of like for the love of Ravka and not wanting to support him. But at the same time, like she was also being deceived. So like she wasn't there when he then took apart the, like she was on the right side of the place when he started doing all of his bad actions. Before that, he was playing the guy, so she had no idea. But it's like the first action he did, she's like, okay, good, I'm bi. But it's like you question, I think what I question as a reader is like, ooh, I wonder if Zoya would have still walked away if it didn't affect her. Like, that's the first thing he does, right? He expands the fold, he goes into West Ravka more, and he kills people. If he hadn't killed her aunt, would she have still supported him? Or would she have been like, oh, this was wrong, and she went to Lena's side? Because we know so much of her going to Lena's side is because her aunt died, and that was so tragic. So yeah, it's so interesting because it makes you, obviously this author's really great at making you question people's morals and what side they stand on. And I think that's why I like Zoya, because you don't know. You never know with her.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, she has like layers, and I think she's even afraid to like peel them back herself. So I think that's what was interesting too with her meeting like Juris, and like first she loses her amplifier, right?
Which was so sad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But
and
the question of, are the amplifiers just created as a way to lock the Grisha from using their full potential?
True. But yeah, so she's like tested that way, and then like we learn about her backstory, and obviously like there's some kind of like emotional connection with Nikoali, but like neither of them can really have that. And she's just so good at like locking herself down. And I feel like you don't get a lot of like main characters that do that, And I think it just goes back to what you said about like Leigh being great at writing like her characters and like developing them. And so I was excited to like see her in this book.
I think what ties into that too, of Leigh being great at writing these characters, is I've never felt so sure in two characters being like they should be rulers. Like they have everything they need to be a ruler. Where I've read other books and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Or we're reading so many too that like they're already he's obviously already a prince, but like they're already the ruler, or they're about to be the ruler, whatever. And you question so much of like, are they even fit to rule? Like in your back of your head, you're like, I'm going along with this because like, yay, fairy tale ending, we'll get it. But like so much of it, you're like, I don't know if this person's really fit to run a kingdom. Like, but these two characters, I never question them in the slightest, from the beginning of Nikoali's story all the way to the end. His character is so rooted in, you're like, this is a true king. This is somebody that deserves to rule, that knows what they're doing, and is doing it for the good of the people, not because of the power it brings. Which obviously is something that she brings up this entire universe as the object of power and how it can corrupt you. And Zoya as well, like it's so much of her. She's like, obviously a hard exterior, but she loves and she cares about people. And she's going to keep going back and training those students. She's going to keep going back and being a soldier and being what she needs to be for the love of Ravka. Right. And so you're like, wow, I've never felt so secure in that. So I think that's what makes it more intriguing reading the story, because you're like, okay, there's political unrest. How are they going to handle this? Because they are set to be the true leader. So you're screaming at the book. You're like, no, like this can't happen. So I do wish the plot of this would have just been the demon and the bastard lineage stuff, because that would have been so intriguing. I don't know if this is me being like biased, because we're in the midst of House of Dragons right now, like watching it, and obviously like that entire thing is like, the entire show is that, like we're fighting for someone that we believe should have been on the throne because they deserved it, and then also like people are questioning the legitimacy of their children, and we're like, who cares, shut up, like they were great for the throne, right? We love them. We love them, and that's what we feel with this, and that's why I'm like, if this just kept at that, it would have been great. So it would be intriguing to hear her speak on the why she felt the need to include this Darkling Part 2 and this Saint story, because it
Mm-hmm.
honestly hurts the plot more than anything, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious, like, did she always think of the saints as like still existing in this other realm,
As actual
or
saints, that surprised me. It
yeah.
really shocked me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it really shocked me.
No.
Like, I had told you so much of how much, I think I've even said on here, I appreciated the way that she shaped the saints and the aspect of religion, because she shows, like, you don't want to, oh my God, they said this yesterday in the House Dragon episode, you don't want to make an enemy of the faith because you can see what happens. And that's so
Mm-hmm.
true within so many different fantasies and within
Mm-hmm.
this one, because the apparat has so much control whether or not, like, you actually believe in what he's saying. He does have a lot of control of the country. He did that with Alina, and he
Mm-hmm.
could do it now. Obviously, he is doing it now
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the story. So it's like, I truly believe that what Leigh was saying was like, no, there actually is no saints. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just Grisha that have faced so much prejudice over the years that they still keep facing the prejudice within that. And then for her to
Mm-hmm.
come around and be like, well, that's still kind of true. Like, they're still just Grisha, but the Grisha who got too powerful.
Right.
So, like,
Right.
there's not a religion, there's not an overarching, like, they can, like, a saint or a godly figure can impact the world around them, because they're still just people, but they're people, they're
Mm-hmm.
not deities, but they're people with, like, so much power as Grisha.
Right.
Like,
That
it's
they basically
confusing.
aren't human. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really confusing. And, like, I think that's, I know that she's trying to expand what the Grisha science is, but then because she's battling what the small science is and what the magic is, I
Mm-hmm.
am getting lost as the reader and being like, what are they able to do? What are they not
Mm-hmm.
able to do? So it sounds like Grisha could do everything, that the how
Mm-hmm.
the fractions were made as a way to reduce their power and to make them smaller. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm still kind of confused, honestly. They used to be able to shape into
Yeah.
animals. Like,
Yeah. I was
I don't
so
get it.
confused on what was his name? Gregory? The one
Oh, the
who could
bear.
be, yeah, but he could also be like just arms and multiple pieces of person. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to even imagine right now. Like I'm having a hard time. I just kind of pictured a blob.
I just went with the picture I showed you guys with him as wearing the bear thing.
Yeah, the bear,
I was like,
yeah.
that's how I'm imagining people. Like, when they were describing them as, like, rolling around or has a wheel, I was like, no, 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 no. And, like, they described Elizabeth like having bees around her at all time. I'm like, thank
Hmm.
God they
Hmm.
didn't actually get to this season in the TV show, because it would have made no freaking sense.
No. No, I think that would have got them canceled.
That would have got them canceled. Yes.
The place stressed me out where they like couldn't even get rest. I was like,
I don't understand it at all.
it was all just sand, but they were like talking about like these elaborate like
Towers.
beds and yeah, chairs, but it's not even real. And I was like, this is a different level of imagination. And I mean, cool, like props to you. Like, I kind of just wanted to be in Leigh Bardugo's head, like as she was writing it. Like, what did she picture? But yeah, I was very stressed for Nikolai and for Zoya.
And I didn't get, like, oh my God, I really didn't get the need for it at all. What did you think of Nikolai, like, in general? Like, I know that in the past,
Mm.
because, we talked about Zoya just now, but, like, what did you think of Nikolai? Because in the past, sometimes you're like, oh, he's there, like, it's great, but, like, you know,
I like I
I
like
loved Nikolai,
Nikolai.
but you were always just like, yeah.
I like Nikolai as Sturmond. I like when he was like sassy and smart and like playing the game. And I didn't really like him and like he didn't really have much of his own personality in this. And I get that like part of that is because he's really suffering because of the demon, you know, and he's like losing himself to that. Uh, but I guess I just thought he fell a little flat,
That's so interesting. I did not feel that at all.
really.
Yeah, I actually thought I got to know Nikolai a lot more because obviously we got his backstory more, and I loved hearing that about his the way that they like brought that kid on, and they were like,
Oh
whenever
yeah,
you
I
act
like
up,
that.
we're gonna hurt him,
Yeah.
and then his love for like the common people and how that grew, and like because of that he would sneak out and he would do all that, so like and like his joining the army and things, like it gave him like I don't want to say tragedy, but like it did, but like it gave him
Hmm.
that depth to that I felt I was missing, where I was like
Mm.
he not that he was just like a stubborn prince or whatever the case may be, but like I guess I always saw Nikolai a little different than you though, because I was just like, oh, he's just a lonely teenage boy in the first
Oh
thing,
yeah.
and then on the second now, like I see that he's like grown up, and like you can see he's taking perspective of everything that's
But
happened to
he's still
him.
sad.
Yeah, because he has a demon inside of him.
Yeah, and
So
he loves
like
Zoya and he can't.
I don't think he's realized he loves Zoya. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I
I
don't think
think he
he's
does
at
more
that
than
point that he
she
doesn't.
does. Like I think he knows his
Mm,
feelings for her more than she knows her feelings for him.
mm.
And I think it's the whole put her in honey. She's in danger. He's got to save her. That really sealed the deal. But nobody has admitted it yet.
I
Nobody
mean, she
has
did mention
realized to
by the end that
themselves.
she felt a little jealous with the him trying to marry somebody else. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the friends
But
to
continue.
lovers.
Which is our new thing, apparently.
Exactly. So I really appreciated Nikolai throughout this. I loved his battle with the demon. I thought that she was kind of doing a little too much repeating of herself in this writing with the like I am the monster and the monster's me. Like we get it. You have to face your demons and like part of you is your demon. But it was just a little too much at some points. But I also didn't feel like like when they have these stories of like I'm like the demons inside and you're facing the darkness within yourself. I was questioning like, well, what is his darkness? Like why is he what like we see so much goodness in him, you know what I mean? So like I'm really confused. I'm like, what's the dark side of him? Like is it because he could just like destroy everything if he wanted to? Like I didn't understand that. I guess like he doesn't have
Yeah.
something he's like
Yeah.
remorseful of, he's like guilty of, or an action he regrets that he like did that made him like with Alina's story. She was constantly like drawn to darkness and could see the darkness. Him, I don't really understand it, and that's where I got a little confused. I'm like, he's the monster just the same. It's like, no, he actually was like cursed. Like it's not like he's like the beast from being the beast where he was like evil to begin with and then he had to learn humility. Like it never seemed like that. I guess maybe him just being cocky, but like I never also saw him as fully cocky either. So that's been a little hard for me to grapple with his character, I guess.
Yeah. I also think there was like the demon didn't need to keep coming back. Especially like at the very end. Why is there still a piece inside of him? Like I'm not following that.
I
And
mean, the
I
end is
don't
all
even,
confusing.
yeah, I don't think, like you're saying, like I don't think he had this moment with himself where he had to like overcome whatever this demon represents. Because like, does it represent something or is it just the Darkling invaded him, you know?
Hmm.
So I feel like that's a bit of a miss.
Because it never was like he was drawn to darkness with the darkness inside of him,
Right.
like Alina was, or people that get dark power are.
Yeah. I, so I feel a little, I don't want to say cheated about that, but there's just
Wish
something that
wash.
doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't sit quite right. And I think maybe now, like, I think that he's gonna play it off like, oh, the demon's gone, we're good, we moved past that, but then it's gonna eat him up inside that there's actually something holding on. But like I said to you earlier today while you were reading, how is this only one more book? Like, how are we wrapping this up? Like, my brain, I don't know.
She did say at BookCon when we saw her, there's a cliffhanger. or not cliffhanger, something that
She
would
did.
lend to something
Yeah.
else. So I don't think it's a cliffhanger. I think it's just like an open-ended thing.
Yeah.
So I could see that. But you're right, because now if we're talking about the end, that's very confusing. Now we have not only Nikoali has possibly demon inside of him. We have Jutta Parem is still a thing. And Nina is now, which I was confused at first what she was going to go do, because they were like, you can't go in there, Nina. And I was like, for where? The like, I don't understand where she's going. But essentially she's trying to follow Broom's activities he does to take, essentially, that's her villain, take him down from the inside out. So she's doing that same way, trying to save Fjerda and the Grisha within, which again, she's setting up a plot that you're saying the exact same thing of. Nina's realizing that there's no way for her to take down this thought that's throughout Fjerda. That you could save a million Grisha, but there's still going to always be more that come up, and there's still going to be this like bad thought throughout Fjerda. So she has to like take that down. But I'm like, how do you take down an ideology? Like, I'm sorry, like in one book, like, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. So that's where she's alluding to. Nina's like leaning into like using their faith against them to do that, which like has worked in Ravka, obviously, because they have the saints.
Yeah.
So that's why they're making Adric a saint, and that whole incident. But yeah, I don't understand that. So like that's what she's doing now, is trying to change to make another safe Grisha land, I guess. I don't know. So we have that, and then now we also have the bastard thing of someone challenging him. And then the most important thing that's so confusing is that the Darkling is back. Not in his body, very
just
Voldemort, as someone in our book club said. But yeah, he's inside the monk's body and is like, hey, old friends, I'm back and I'm alive. And I'm like, like, what is he gonna do? Like, what is he gonna do? Like, does he have powers again? Does he not have powers? Are they just using him as like a history thing? Like, you could tell. And I texted you immediately because I said, I don't understand why Nikoali wants him alive still. Like, what is the point of having him there? What is he doing that's gonna benefit? And I guess we don't know yet, so we didn't start book 2 yet. But like, I still don't understand why you would need him at all. But that's why you were saying with the demon, like, does this mean that like if they kill him, it kills Nikoali because they're both connected through this thing now? They have to still eradicate it from him. And I'm here like, how is it like the Darkling's not gonna want to stay there? He wants to go find fucking Alina. Like, he, like, I know that she is no sun summoner no more, which I guess that's what they're alluding to with saying, like, he wants to just find the most power he can, so, like, he wouldn't go after Alina because she has no gain to him. But also for believing what was done in Shadow and Bone and him feeling so close and connected to her, why wouldn't he want to find her again, you know?
Right. What? Yeah, how is he gonna get his like extra power? It doesn't really make sense.
Nothing makes sense.
I don't like that. I don't think we needed him to come back.
No, let him rest. His plot was done. I don't understand why we needed to resurrect it.
Yeah. And they literally had, like you said before, like people mourning him. So like that's usually the end of a story.
And I thought it was more intriguing of these people trying to saint him, you know?
Yeah.
And like Nikoali even mentions to him as the monk and him talk about it, like, we knew that the Darkling was actually trying to help Ravka. Like, he actually genuinely did want to help Ravka and genuinely did want to help the Grisha, but it just became so much bigger than what he intended, and then selfishly in power and things that evolved from it. But I thought that was cool. Like, when it first introduced, I was like, ooh, like, that's going to be hard for them to grapple with, because how did they frame this? Again, this would have tied into this whole very fragile Ravka and them trying to do the political field of it. And, like, Genya reacting to it was so heartbreaking. Like, when the monk came around and he said that, like, he said the things to her, and she stood up. And then when David was like, one more thing, if you offend my wife again, I'm going to kill you. I was like, yes, David.
Yes.
So, like, that was really, like, interesting because I'm wondering if that's how different people feel throughout, Ravka, and it all ties back to this idea of the faith. Like the faith can sway so much of this
Mm-hmm.
country, as we are
Mm-hmm.
seeing, which would have been interesting to. I'm gonna rewrite this book, which would have been interesting to see as a frame when you're looking at Nina's story trying to take down a different ideology. So
Mm-hmm.
it'd be Nikolai and Zoya fighting one ideology in Ravka, while Nina is out there fighting the same ideology in Fjerda, but in a different way, and how they take those down. Wow, what a book. What a concept,
Yeah.
trying to fight ideologies. And that's a story. That's a plot I would have been here for. Not whatever
Yeah.
we just got.
No. I think I think that is where like Nina's story is headed. Um, I do also think that it could have been different, like done differently. Um,
What would you have
and now
wanted
I'm,
different?
well, I'm like, I think that her story is supposed to be like it's helping the Grisha, but like rooted in like her and Matthias's like connection. And when he dies and she like keeps hearing his voice
Oh,
and
heartbreaking.
that like he's still like being her like better half, you know? And so I think like her going into Fjerda and helping the Grisha there is important. And then I just think she gets like waylaid by not by like what's happening at the factory, but like I don't think I'm a fan of Han and the Han story.
Hana.
Oh, okay, Hannah.
That's how they pronounce it. I know.
Um,
It's so interesting the way they spell it, but yeah.
um, that because that just feels like out of left field to me.
It felt so out of left field. Thank you.
And I especially hated that like they met like right after she buried Matthias. And I also hated that like essentially like Hannah scared she didn't scare away Trassel, but like he left. And Nina spends all this time trying to like get back to him or like get him back to her. And I'm like, that connection is so special. And I just feel like it got ruined. Uh And I also like as you were talking, I was like thinking about Nina's story and I don't want her to fall into the like she's just one girl, she has to save the world. Like it doesn't need to be that. And I feel like it's kind of getting set up that way. And I don't know, like I feel like when her story starts and then she gets like captured, like that's kind of how she like thinks. And then we see her in Six of Crows and she has this found family and I just hate to see her like backtrack. So I'm like disappointed, I guess,
I think the seeing
for
her
now.
backtrack is not as heartbreaking to me because like it would be a part of her grief story. Like you're not perfect. You're gonna backtrack or you're gonna do things you're gonna regret and anger and rage and then maybe turn it around. So that wouldn't have bothered me, but I agree that the Hana thing was weird. I also didn't catch it at first. Like when people were commenting on the book club, I was like, "Oh, this is a flirtation." I was like, because he's really good at writing flirtations. Like I've seen it with
Mm.
Jesper, and I've seen it with
Mm-hmm.
Nikolai, and I've seen it with everything. And I did not catch it at first. And then because I guess because their relationship was so framed, like when it first presented itself, it seemed like they had a huge age difference, right? That's what first came out. For me,
Oh.
it felt like, oh, okay, Nina's older than her, like she's younger, she's like a young
Oh.
teen or whatever. And then they're like, okay, no, they're like actually really close in age. But because it was so much of like Nina knows more and Nina was teaching her, it framed to me and it still frames to me as like a teacher and student. And so I haven't been
Mm.
able to get around to this romance because
Mm.
that's how I'm seeing them, like someone who's really naive and someone who isn't. And
Mm.
it feels really weird to me that there would then be a romance budding there because then I'm like, is there taking advantage of or, which I
Mm.
know there's not, but like, I'm not sold on it and I'm not
Yeah.
feeling it at all because of that and because of the way
Yeah.
how it was staged up. And you know, and obviously like Nina lies to her this entire time. So I saw it as more of a friendship than I saw any kind of relation. And then yeah, and then it was weird that like when Hana like tailors herself to look like a boy is when Nina like makes a comment in her
Mm-hmm.
head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's like not a lusting comment, but it's something I forgot what she says.
Yeah,
And I just was
I think
like,
that one is about her lips.
yeah, the
Like,
lips.
yeah, like Hannah's like, oh, they're too full. And Nina says something like they're perfect or whatever. And there's another comment like way earlier where Nina like thinks something about like running her fingers through like
Her
Hannah's
hair.
hair.
When she
And
cuts it, I think, or before that.
yeah, I was like, this feels a little odd. But I was like, okay. And I don't know where we're going from here.
It just felt
just
forced, and I didn't like that. And you know, I love any lesbian
yeah.
story. As a lesbian reader myself, I was excited for a lesbian story, but it just felt so forced. Like, I didn't understand why it was needed. Nina has a lot going on. I did not need a love
Nina
story.
does.
I didn't need a love
No.
story in this entire book. Like, we already have Zoya and Nikoali. I'm
No.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I do not need a love story. Like, please. How did you
Mm-mm.
feel though about realizing that Nikolai actually did like Alina? That threw me.
Oh.
That threw
Oh.
some of our book
I
club members
guess
too. People were like,
I
"Oh shit,
guess
they actually did like each other."
I don't think I was that surprised. I think because I was like such a purist for Mal that like anyone else, I was like, oh man, like they really do like them. I don't like that, but I'll be
Yeah.
fine with it. So, but I think also like back to what you were saying about hearing more of like Nikolai's background, like you do feel bad for him in that like if he really did like her or have feelings for her, like, and that just like was never gonna happen. And it's just like one more thing in his life that isn't it's not easy
Is
and it's not I don't like fair in a way. Like he doesn't have an easy life and
maybe that's the darkness she's alluding to. That he can have this rage and anger because nothing is his. Like, he
hmm,
could never have something that's his. Like, his name's
mm-hmm,
not even legitimate. He's not legitimate
mm-hmm,
to the crown. He's fighting on every respect for people to believe in him, to have faith in him. And then he was trying to do what was best for his country and marry Alina and all of this stuff. And then he couldn't help it, but he ended up kind of falling for her and she rejected him. Like there's so many
mm-hmm.
different layers of him being just rejected constantly, and I'm like, maybe that's what the darkness of the monster he's facing, like him
Maybe.
having to fight that anger and not be bitter and resentful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it would be enough to have to be like locked to your bed every night.
True, that too.
That just be
Valid.
like, yeah, yeah, I kind of hate my life.
Valid. How did you feel about the Isaac plotline? When, remember, the funniest thing I have to say is in our book club, when we all commented, who the fuck is Isaac? We're like, did we miss something? Like, because, you know, like, they're pulling so many characters from different things. You're like, did I miss this
Yeah.
character?
I know, I always think about when we get a new like POV, it's like, who are you? Where did you come from? What are you
When did you
doing?
enter the chat? I wasn't ready for you to enter the
Right.
chat.
What? Um, I liked him. I thought his story was good, a little sad, also a little rushed. I mean, like him falling in love with Princess, very predictable. But I and also falling in love with Jenya. I was like, "Oh, this sweet boy." But I guess I didn't hate it. You know, they had to do something and he did a good job, but didn't end so well, I guess.
That was so sad. Yeah, I liked him. I thought it was really cute, and I thought it was really smart of Nikolai. It just made me more impressed with Nikolai. Like, everything made me
Yeah.
so impressed with this man. And I was like,
Hmm.
wow. But then, yeah, like, it makes you impressed with him, but then you're like, everything he does, it's so hard. I mean, he's such an interesting character. It's so hard because everything he does is like, oh, like Isaac was like, oh my God, he's such a great king. Like, look what he did. Like, he got to know me. when I was like injured, and he put me
Mm-hmm.
in the guard, and he sends money to my family. He does all this. He's amazing. But it's like he's not actually doing that out of the kindness of his heart. Like he is, but at the same time,
Yeah.
if you think about his motives, it's not really.
He's plotting.
He's
Yeah.
baiting you, and he's using you as a toy so you could then step in as his stand-in without your
Mm-hmm.
permission to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you die because of it. But for Nikoali, that's because of the Rabavlavka. And so, like, it's this great, counterbalance of power of how much do you sacrifice of yourself to be in the throne.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates such a contradiction to him because you're like, oh my God, Nikoali's such a great person. And you're like, but is he?
Mm-hmm.
Because he did all that to Isaac without actually asking Isaac's permission to do any of that. And it's like, was
Right.
anything he doing genuine then? No. In
Right.
the end, his actions are not genuine because he was using Isaac.
Right. Yeah. And he
But
can
so
always
smart.
he can always explain it away. And you get tripped up because you're like, wow, like he's really cunning, but like at what cost,
I think is the reason for the presence of Tamar and Tolia, because they're kind of his, I don't say his moral compass because he doesn't really agree with a lot of the things that they say, but they're a reminder to him to not let that cunning and getting to that last goal of Ravka get ahead of him in the actions he's taking. Because not to mention House of Dragons again, but like Allison even says that like you will do things you don't expect to do because you're on the throne. And like it's this question of when you're on the throne, do you stay the person that you are, or you become something that you didn't expect because you're just trying to think of everyone at once, which is impossible to do. So yeah, I think that's what their presence is. So I think their characters are interesting in that because we were so questioned of like, why are they there? Like I'm so confused. Like they were for Nikoali and then they weren't. Now they still worship Alina as the savior and saint, and that's why they're there. Like they're there because of what they sacrificed for it. But I think that them being his moral compass in that way is interesting, and Zoya in that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's interesting that like Zoya can be like very extreme, right? Like she wants to kill the monk. Like why keep him alive? But I think like one of my favorite parts of this book was when like Nikoali disagrees and he's like, no, we're going to invite him to breakfast and we're going to talk and we're going to show everyone that we're just having a talk. And I just thought that was so clever and like such a great representation of Nikoali's character.
Yes. And him right before that being like, if you say no, I will be shot and we will blame it on you. And he's like, smile and wave, smile and wave. So smart.
Yeah, I love like that is like heist energy. That's like some kind of like Ocean's 11. Like I appreciate that because I feel like those kind of things like I could never think of. So I love to like read them or like watch them because I'm like, this is so clever. Like this is great. So I do appreciate him for that.
How did you feel about the intertwining of the Six of Crows things throughout? Or how do I mention this? Like, I feel like they intertwined a lot of things where you're like, you have to catch it if you read the other stuff, which was fun. But I think after a while, I was like, okay, I get it. I loved when she would intertwine when Nina would be like, well, Kaz Brecker would think this way. And even at one point, Nikoali said that about Kaz, like, oh, Kaz would do this. But then they mentioned small things like, oh, he got a taste for coffee, I think it was, or something, because he was staying at the University of Ketterdam while, in there.
Yeah.
So, like, there's different things like that I loved. But, yeah, toward the end, I think I was like, okay, I get it.
I think what stood out to me, which was like kind of, I don't want to say annoying, but like, okay, yeah, we get it, was they kept saying Alina's full name as if we didn't spend 3 whole books with her. Like, they'd be like, Alina Starkov, and like, Alina Starkov did this. And I was like, yes, we were there. But like, I understand, like, if you weren't there,
yeah,
they kind of had to make her into like some,
But they're showing you what other people view it as. And it was even to a point that I was like, oh my God, do Zoya and them like not know that? Like, I was like, that she's alive. I was like, no, they're just playing it off really well because then like by the
Yeah.
end, like Zoya was saying something in her mind of or something of like in the I saw him
Yeah.
burn and I saw Alina's fake body burned. I was like, okay, so like
Yeah.
obviously like, I know they all know because we know in the epilogue that they're all there and they hang out
Hmm.
with her. But they were
Hmm.
so good at even like thinking about it, which I think is the way you have to be. You have to think about this lie as truth to
Hmm.
believe it. That I was
Hmm.
just like, wow, Zoya and I'm like, maybe they think that Lena really died.
There was one comment. I guess it wasn't too late because it was before they got taken. Whereas Zoya thinks something like, oh, we need to like send someone to the orphanage or like we need to go visit the orphanage. And I knew that she was
Well, they did
talking
send someone
about,
there. Yeah.
yeah, Alina and Mal, which I was like, oh, that is like very subtle. And
Hmm.
you definitely have had to read to know what's happening. And it wasn't like super important to the
No,
plot, but it was like a good nod.
it was like they were making a stop somewhere on their travel to the fold, and they like sent some of the caravan to the orphanage. Like it was a brief mention, real quick, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I know what orphanage you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. It was a good little tidbit. But yeah, I agree with you that like a little bit was a little too much at times. You're like, okay. Hmm.
Which is a one universe, so it's fine.
I was
What did I
just
miss?
trying to think what I rated it. What did you rate it?
I haven't done my review yet.
Okay. I do not remember.
I don't know what I would rate this yet. I think I'm gonna take a day to think about it and then write my
Mhm,
review.
mhm.
So by the time this episode's out, I'm sorry you guys won't know my actual review. Just check me out on Fable. It's most likely gonna be like a 3, probably,
Yeah.
or a little less because I really
Yeah.
was struggling with the plot as I spent the entire first half hour of this episode talking about. Um, and
Yeah.
I just don't. It's sad because I was like, oh, I wonder if after this, like, I'll go read her other stuff, and I'm like, I kind of don't want to. Like, I think that she struggles with plot. I really do. And I don't really
Yeah.
need to sit through that again. So, obviously, we're going to finish the last book. I'm excited to end this Grishaverse. And I have found more appreciation for this as we watch the TV show, which we talk about in the episode of the TV show. So, I'm excited for that. And I am a little sad that the show was canceled for many reasons.
Hmm.
But I don't
Agreed.
necessarily think that I would have wanted this plot as a TV show. But Nikolai and Zoya would have been
Hmm.
great. Would love that.
Hmm.
So maybe we'll
I
see
know.
that though when we meet because we haven't started season 2 yet. We have not met
I
Nikolai.
know. I
So
know. I'm dying to meet him.
he's
I
in
want
it.
to
I've seen the
know.
actor. He's in it.
Okay. Good.
And that'd be stupid if he
Good.
wasn't.
I mean, yeah, it would make zero sense if he wasn't.
Let's just take this guy out.
That'd be crazy. But anyways,
I think that's a
that's
wrap on King of
kind of a
Scars.
wrap. Hmm.
Yeah, by Leigh Bardugo. I actually don't know. It's so funny. Like I don't know the name. Are we just calling each trilogy by the first book? Is that what she does? I think so, right? Like, yeah,
I
the
think
Six
so.
Coast duology,
Yeah.
Shadow and Bone trilogy. So that's a wrap on the first book of the King of Scars duology.
Duology.
So we
Hmm.
will now go into the next book, which is Rule of Wolves. Oh yes, that's right here in the back of the book. Um, and then we'll be done. We'll be done with the Grishaverse. But Lee and I are reading the Demon of the Wood graphic novel prequel, which I mentioned at the beginning, and then now we'll read the new Six of Crows one. And there also are 2 other books that are like side books in this. They have The Lives of the Saints and The Language of the Thorns, which now that I
Hmm.
read the title sounds very integral to the book that we just read.
It do.
I had
It
no idea
sure
what the
do.
Thornwood was.
The
And so Legend of the
Thornwood.
Thorns.
Mhm.
So that
Mhm.
makes sense. And that makes sense why
Mhm.
there was because like there was some fan art of all the saints. It looked like not character
Mhm.
cards, but it looked like tarot cards of the
Sure.
saints. And it must have been
Mhm.
from that, like the Lives of the
Mhm.
Saints. Which the Lives of the Saints is the book that Alina does have in the show, and she reads in the books about the Lives of the Saints, blah blah blah. So I wonder if we had read those, would we have felt better about this
Better.
going into it.
Whoops. Let us know.
If you've read them, yeah, let us know. For sure. For sure. But thank you guys so much for joining us on this review. We appreciate you sticking by for the whole thing and hope that you come back for the next one. Make sure to join us on the app Babel so you can read with us in real time as we read these books and see our reactions and give us your own reactions as well. Everything's always saved in the archives on the Fable app, so you can always go back and add more. We check it, all that's fun stuff. Make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and let us know literally everything you're thinking in between about this series and other series we've read and just whatever you're reading. And our next mini episodes, which are exciting, coming out, they're focusing on like more book to adaptions, what we're doing. We mentioned season 2 of Six of Crows. We're also going to watch The Odyssey and talk about it, and other book to movie or TV show adaptations. So stick around for that. And yeah, a lot of great things coming. It is a hot girl summer, even though it's like kind of hot, but not hot. It's a hot book summer, summer session. So let's keep going and lead up to even more better and greater things. So thank you all, and we hope that you are reading a great book right now. And happy reading.
Happy reading.